Most people know that in the United States, in order to become a lawyer, you have to go to law school. But did you know that everyone that graduates from law school isn't a lawyer? Today, I'm going to talk to you about the steps that you need to take in order to become a lawyer. And make sure you watch to the end where I give you a little known secret about how to become an esquire. Walk you through today about how you become or how you get into law school, because that's the entry point to becoming a lawyer. And our viewers are of different levels of experience. Some of them are in high school and just know they want to be a lawyer. So I'm going to start from the beginning. The first step is actually to get your undergraduate degree. And I get the question all the time, like, what should I major in? Is there a major that's best for a law school career trajectory or not? To be honest, you see all kind of undergraduate majors in law school. So it really doesn't matter what you major in undergrad, but you do need an undergraduate degree in order to apply to law school. So I would say that's the first step, get your undergraduate degree. I know personally, I majored in political science and criminal justice. There were a lot of law-related classes there. There were a lot of government-related classes. Even some of the criminal justice classes, they had some classes where I would brief cases, meaning I would scan a case and then write a summary of the important points of the case. And so I got a little preparation for law school, because that's what you're going to be doing in law school as well, in some of my criminal justice classes and in some of my political science classes. So it didn't hurt me, but I saw people who were in my law school class that majored in English, math. Some of them thought they were going to go to medical school, and then they took a left turn and went to law school instead. But the number one thing is to do your best in undergraduate so that you can get the best GPA ever, so that when you're applying to law school, you have your pick of the choice, because some law schools have a minimum GPA requirement that most of their students have. You want to make sure that you meet that requirement. So get that undergraduate degree first. So the next step is to take the LSAT. The LSAT is the law school entrance exam. And so just like in order to get into undergrad, you have to take the SAT or the ACT. The LSAT is the entrance examination in order to get into law school. And it tests you on things like logic and reasoning. It's actually not that logical. But basically, it's a test to see how you think and how you process things. Law school is going to test the way you've ever thought about anything. Up until probably now in your career, it was basically a test of, okay, we give you information in class and you spit it back out to us. And it may have not required as many critical thinking skills as you'll find in law school. And so the LSAT is just a test to see how you do. And you can take it more than once. And a lot of people do take it more than once because they want to get the best score as possible before they apply to law school. And so I would say to actually use an LSAT preparation course. If you watch my other videos about how to get into law school and the bar exam, I'm an advocate of actually using preparation services in order to prepare you for standardized testing. It doesn't come natural to everyone, including me. And so if you have someone walk you through about how to take a test, I guarantee that you'll score higher. And then just like the GPA, when you're putting together your law school application package, you'll have the best version of yourself when you apply to law school. So second step is take the LSAT and do as well as possible. So the third step is when you're applying to law school, you're going to need the GPA, the LSAT. You're going to have to write a personal statement and get letters of recommendation. If you're an undergrad or if you've been out of undergrad a while, this is the best time to stay in touch with people that you think will be good recommenders. I applied a year after I finished undergrad, and so a lot of my professors already knew. I'd already set the stage, like I want to go to law school. They knew about me intimately, so I chose those professors to write letters of recommendation, and then also had personal letters of recommendation where I volunteered at where I worked at, my supervisor. So it kind of built me up as a person. Like, I'm not just academic, I do some volunteer work. I also work because I need to sustain myself, so I'm capable of doing more than one thing at a time and doing it well. And so you want to have a plethora of options for your letters of recommendation. And I would say don't just pick professors who don't really know you and can kind of give you a mediocre recommendation, because it doesn't really do you well. The law school committee, the admission committee is going to know if this recommender really knows you intimately. If it's just like, oh, I recommend John or Sarah to come to law school because they did well in my class, the end. That really doesn't tell you much about the person. If you have a professor that writes, oh, this person demonstrates a level of academic agility and has common sense and was always a addition to my class, that tells the law school admission committee who this person is. If you have a supervisor, if you're in the workforce already, who tells about how you are mature enough to handle the rigors of law school because you volunteer for certain projects, you've made the business that you've been at beneficial, then that will help you in your application package. So be very particular about who you choose to write a letter of recommendation to, and then pick the best ones. You need at least 3. So keep in mind, you might want to have an extra, like I said, to make you look like a total person. Like, I'm not just academia. So before I get into the next step, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like this video so that you can see future content. We have a whole law school playlist, pre-law, law school, and beyond. So check it out after you finish watching this video so that you can get future tips. Okay, let's talk about the next step. So you get to law school, and now what? You finish law school. Law school is usually 3 years long. I'll give you a little tip about how you can shorten that period if you're that set on making sure that you become a lawyer as fast as you can. But the typical journey is you do 4 years of undergrad and 3 years of law school. So after you graduate from law school, you get a degree, and it's a Juris Doctorate degree. And you have a degree. Means you are now a law school graduate. You're not a lawyer yet. You're a law school graduate with a Juris Doctorate degree. And so it's an advanced degree. Some people use it for different things. Some of them use it as an advanced degree so they can go further in their careers. And some of them use it to go further as a career as a lawyer. And I'm going to talk to you about why having a JD is not the same as being a lawyer. Okay, so in the United States, when you graduate from law school, you get your Juris Doctorate. And after you take the bar exam and successfully pass the bar exam is when you become an official lawyer, attorney at law, counselor and attorney at law. So a lot of people are under the misconception that I go to law school and graduate and boom, I'm a lawyer. You're not. Similar to how when you graduate from medical school, you have a degree, a medical degree, but you're not necessarily a doctor until you pass the boards. In law school, when you graduate law school, you have a degree, but you can't practice law as a lawyer until you pass a bar exam. So just like you had to get into law school by taking a standardized test, when you get out of law school, you have to take another standardized test called the bar exam. And the bar exam is a test of your whole 3 years of law school. And you never know the topics. They give you a list of topics they may test. They can't test everything, but you have to basically know everything that you learned in 3 years because you don't know what they're going to test. And it's usually a 2 to 3 day exam. Not your, okay, this is an hour, 3 hour. Yeah, you have a couple of those in those 2 to 3 days. I think California is a 3-day exam. And you take it usually in July or February. And so if you take it in July, you figure out your results usually in October or November. And then if you pass, you are officially a lawyer, an attorney, a counselor at law. You can actually practice in the jurisdiction in which you took the bar exam. Every state has a different bar exam. They're trying to make them a unified one so that you don't have differences in where you take the exam. But whatever state that you take the bar exam in is where you're going to be barred. If you watch my other video about taking only one bar exam and then being able to practice in multiple jurisdictions, you can kind of finagle it and get more than one jurisdiction with one exam. But in general, whichever state that you take the bar exam in, that's where you can actually practice law. So you'll see, I guess, when you get to law school and that end of the spectrum, when people graduate from law school, they're like, I graduated from law school, yeah. But you'll know when they actually pass the bar exam, they'll update their Facebook statuses or their Instagram and put their name, comma, ESQ, period, Esquire. That means they're officially a lawyer. Like, before that, they just had their JD, their Juris Doctorate. After they pass the bar exam, they're officially an Esquire. So that's how you know if somebody's actually a practicing lawyer, when you see that Esquire behind their name. And here's a fun fact. You usually don't refer to yourself as Esquire. I know people do it after they pass, but usually people refer to you as Esquire. So it's kind of like taking it back to the English days where people refer to people as barristers and things of that nature. When you refer to someone, so if someone will refer to you as Esquire when they're writing a letter, Dear LaRita Esquire, you don't necessarily sign it that way, but if you want to like show a little bit of swag, sometimes you can sign it Esquire just to let them know like, I know what I'm doing. And I know some of you are wondering, kind of, is JD the top level degree once you go that law school route? It actually isn't. They actually have an LLM degree, so a master's of law. And so some people go further, and it's basically, so the law degree is basically a generalized degree. We learn all kinds of law. When you go to school for your LLM, the master's of law, you're basically specializing in a particular field. A lot of times I see people specialize in tax law, and an LLM degree is pretty expensive, and so usually people are not just taking it because they want to become a lawyer. They take it because they know it can take them further in their career, and having an LLM in tax actually takes you a lot further. So there is a level above JD when you become a lawyer. I mentioned earlier in the video that, yeah, you usually go to law school. It takes 4 years for undergrad and 3 years for law school. But some schools are coming up with a dual degree program where you can basically have an accelerated degree. So you can do undergrad in 3 and you can do law school in 3. And so I think there's a certain amount, I think there's, I'm gonna drop the link in the description box. There are a certain amount of schools that actually offer it. Rutgers, my undergraduate, where I got my undergraduate degree, they actually offer it. I think it was as of recently. The thing about that though, what I would say is the pros and cons, obviously the pros is you can get to your finish line faster. The cons would be you are an accelerated track. Like you can't mess up on any classes. You have to take probably at least 5 or 6 classes a semester to actually accomplish this goal. And I know in undergrad, I had some hard time in some of my classes. And so not having that kind of opportunity to say, okay, I can take 4 at a time this semester or 5, you actually have to take probably at least 5 to finish in that accelerated course. But for those people that say, listen, I want to get this out of the way, it's a cheaper way of doing it. It's available for some people. So check out the description box where I give a list of some of the schools that offer those accelerated degree, undergrad and JD degrees. You may know about Kim Kardashian. She wants to become a lawyer too. And she's actually not going the 4 years undergrad, 3 years law school route. She's doing an apprentice program. And it's available in certain states. She's in California. And I think she was explaining that she doesn't even have her undergraduate degree, but she has credits towards her undergraduate degree. So I think you need at least 60 undergraduate degree credits, almost like to be a substitute teacher. Like you need 60 credits, I think. So you need 60 credits, and then you need to work with a practicing attorney for a certain amount of hours a week. And then you can take basically like a baby bar exam and become some type of practicing attorney that way. I don't know anybody personally who has taken this route, but obviously I want to put it out there that it is available to certain people in certain states. I don't know the limitations of doing it that way, to have it done that way versus going through the traditional route. I do know if you watch my other video about law school clinics, actually having hands-on experience working with attorneys and practicing law before you get out to become a lawyer has a level of desirability. It does prepare you. So her being an apprentice and actually witnessing how people actually practice law is definitely going to help her. But I don't know how she's going to fully appreciate the foundational classes that you actually get, because you need a foundation before you actually use what you're doing in the law. So I don't know personally, but I wanted to put it out there that's available. If you're a person that lives in California, I know it's available in California, the apprenticeship program. Hopefully I broke down the steps that you need to become a lawyer so that if that's what you're trying to do, if you're a high school student, if you're the non-traditional student that wants to go back, go ahead and do it. Put your best effort into it. And hopefully I'll see you as a colleague in the next few years.